Fostering connection through vulnerability, the People Pleaser podcast validates struggles, celebrates growth, and inspires positive change. Together, let's embrace authenticity, challenge patterns, and evolve with compassion. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the People Pleaser podcast. It's Corie. And I'm a little under the weather. You might hear it in my voice a little bit today, a little bit raspy. But I'm really just trying to channel my Phoebe Buffay sexy voice from Friends. I feel like anytime I'm sick, I never really get the chance to have that sexy voice, that like raspy, seductive voice. It's always just like really phlegmy and like pitchy and garbly. So maybe not the most ideal day to record, but I have the time, I have the desire, I have the topic, so we are just rolling with it. I may have to take a few sneeze breaks, but I'll cut that part out. So I've had a very low energy week, I think mostly to do with being sick. I am, however, really noticing how deeply I am leaning into some, I don't know, just a little introverted tendencies right now. And I'm trying not to hyperanalyze that too much, just letting myself transition and be in this new pattern, this new schedule, trying to be just like gentle. I've been sick, so I'm just kind of giving myself a little bit of a pass. We have some busy times ahead of us too. I think there's an unconscious awareness that right now it's not a terrible idea to get a little bit of rest in. It's Brian's birthday this weekend, and next week my mom is visiting, and in a couple weeks we'll be headed to Maryland for a trip back east to visit with Brian's family and friends. So it's almost like the time is right to just be a little bit introverted, lay low, be a bit of a homebody. I want to be mindful of that though, because I can, like, I think I've said this before, just like really lean into the introverted side of me. And it can be at a sacrifice of getting those social needs met and kind of hiding away and making excuses up in my head to not put myself out there. Even if it just means like going to a cafe where I know people who work there, like I find myself kind of making excuses as to why I shouldn't or I don't want to. And I don't know, there's like a certain level of self-sabotage that goes on in those inner conversations where it's like I know that I would actually really benefit from that, and yet I let the more anxious side of me call the shots more than I would like to. So I'm not lacking in self-awareness. The awareness is there, but it's kind of the pushing myself out of my comfort zone that I think I've like really slowed down, because I have been in this like kind of long-standing state of burnout and feeling like my capacity has just like been really diminished. But I don't want that to just be the narrative that I hold forever. Like, I know that I'm doing really good work to take care of myself and heal my burnout and build new boundaries and create new habits and healthy patterns that really do facilitate a more balanced way of being. And so I've yet to really put those to the test. I think I'm still kind of in that shell shocked, like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready. So summer is just around the corner, and it ultimately always pushes me into a bit more of a social headspace, a bit more of, there's like more going on. It's easier to say yes. The weather is warm. There's a higher presence of FOMO, not wanting to miss out on things that, are time limited because of the warmer months not being, they don't stick around forever. We here on the Pacific Northwest have a pretty short summer season. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at today. My husband Brian and I, we had a pretty hard morning. What was that? Wednesday morning, so today's Friday, where we met with a business counselor. And this is a counselor that Brian's been seeing for a little while to just get some like business coaching or counseling. And now that I'm on board with the business, I was brought into that meeting, and I'm going to do an entire episode on what it's been like coming together with my husband in business, because we bring different skills, we bring different experiences, and it's just really interesting to see the interplay of those things. But it was a tough meeting. There was a lot of emotion, and there was just a lot of vulnerability that was shared. And afterwards, I treated my husband to breakfast. I said, let's go get some breakfast. Like, let's, just go treat ourselves. And we went to this cafe that I'd seen before and my husband had been to before, but I'd never been to. And I knew that Brian had had like a really positive experience at this cafe before with the owner, the woman who runs it. He said that he'd like gone in there once and she just bought him his breakfast just out of the kindness of her heart. And so we went in there and we were immediately met with her kindness. She makes these big, giant, beautiful muffins, like fresh every day, and a beautiful menu of just like really good home cooked food. And she was just generous. She was just bubbly and chatty and generous, and like gave us one of the muffins for free, and just, was invested in the interaction. And once we sat down, we could overhear her talking to different customers. She knew everybody. She was curious about everybody. She was playful. She was able to share parts of herself just so easily. And she was just one of those people that like you feel good when you're in their energy. And my husband and I, we were just like feeding off of this positivity, and we couldn't help but just be put in like such a good mood. And I find that I'm really susceptible to like, the energy or the environment around me, being an empath, being a people pleaser, like being hypervigilant. Like I find that with those qualities, it's really easy to latch on to the energy that's around you. And in this case, what a gift, like what a positive presence to be in. And I just felt so lucky that I got to like have some of that. And Brian looked at me and said, she just seems like she is genuinely happy, like happy in her life, content. Like what you see is like an authentic representation of happiness. And that really got me thinking. It got me thinking about, her life and what brought her to this juncture, and, what her worldview is, what her perspective is, what are some of her experiences that has led her to where she's at right now, running this cafe and the marina. And also like to develop that type of energy and to have, and I'm hyper analyzing her, like I'm, projecting some, because I obviously didn't get a chance to dig deeply with her. But my perception is that some of these things are just built into us. Like we're hardwired to maybe have a more glass half full perspective on life. But I have to believe that there has been work done to be able to show up in this way. And maybe that's because she's overcome hardship. Maybe that's because she's had amazing role models and mentors. Maybe it's just like where she's at in her life and she has the perspective of, a bigger picture. But I left there and I left that interaction questioning my own happiness and questioning, like, would someone say that about me if they were to see me in the wild? And would they look to their partner and say, wow, like she just seems genuinely happy? And I was a little bit sad with where my mind went in that kind of hypothetical questioning. And I had to like ask myself, like, how would I answer that question? How would I answer, like, are you really happy? And that's kind of what I want to unpack today, is like that idea of like being happy, like not maybe day to day or moment to moment or whatever it may be, but like as a whole, like, am I happy? Am I fulfilled? And it has me looking at that lens, or looking at that scenario through the lens of a people pleaser and someone who is so concerned with facilitating the happiness of others and the cost that has in my own happiness. And so let's unpack. When I think about that question, like, am I happy? I feel like there are layers to that. Like, I have many happy moments. I can laugh easily and joke easily and be playful. And I have great connections and friendships. And I love being around people. Like, if you were to see me in my job, like, you would probably think, like, this girl is so happy. She's so friendly and personable and playful, and I can have levity. However, if I think about that through kind of a deeper analysis, I think about like frontward facing Corie and like inward facing Corie. And the person I am, that I project to the world, that I give away to the world, is often happy and playful and fun and positive. But if I am honest and really think about, like, on a day-to-day, like, am I internally happy? And this isn't like surface level happiness. This is like at my core. Am I happy? Am I fulfilled? Does my life have meaning? Yes. But I know there's more to be had. And I know that there is more happiness to be had. The thing about being a people pleaser, and I already mentioned this, is that we're so concerned about the needs of others. We are so concerned about making sure everybody else has their needs met so that they can find ease or happiness or peace or safety. And if I were to like put myself in the shoes of this woman working at this cafe, I'd like to think that I would do pretty much all the same things as this woman, like have meaningful conversations, give things away for free, share parts of myself, be curious about people, laugh, make jokes, like, all of that. But what I got from her was that it was fun. It was fun. It was what it was. I could see it. I could see her, and it truly seemed like she just wanted to be there, and she was so happy in her life. And if I think about me in that situation, I think that is all of that. If I were doing all of that, it wouldn't be for me. I wouldn't necessarily be getting something out of that other than the fact that I could then pat myself on the back and say, good job, you took care of all these people. Good job, they like you. And it wouldn't be because I want to do those things. And this is me being like super honest. And like in the moments, I'm not exactly clear on this. But it's not as much a want. Oh, I'm choosing to do this. It feels like a need. It feels like an absolute necessity for my own well-being. It's almost as if like doing those things for others brings me to kind of my steady state, like this base level of safety of like, I need to do these things in order to earn my keep, in order like for things to keep flowing, is that I need to be in service of others. And that's just the price I have to pay in this life, because like these qualities, these like this connection to others, pleasing others, it's always an attempt to like fill my cup. And the cup keeps getting deeper and deeper. It's bottomless. And it's not ever like I get to that place of fulfillment of being like, okay, I've done enough today. I've done enough in this world. I've done enough for this person or this community, these connections. And now it's my turn to kind of bask in it. So it is kind of walking through the world feeling like my cup has no bottom and I have to work really hard to just like fill it, keep trying to fill it, keep trying to fill it. And it feels like insatiable. I think a real challenge that we have as people pleasers is finding that space, finding that room, finding those opportunities to please ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to take responsibility for our own happiness, our own fulfillment. We do it for others without batting an eye, without even knowing we're doing it. It's so ingrained in us. I was talking to someone at the dog park yesterday, and we were talking about just, I was actually bringing up being in business with Brian and how we have different qualities and how mine are very much in the like people pleasing, like customer satisfaction, like wanting to make sure everybody's happy type category. And Brian is, more disciplined in the business side of things. And this guy at the dog park said, I am exactly the same as you. And he said that he has done a lot of work in his day where he's saying, no problem, don't worry about it. Discount for you. I just want to make sure you're happy. I just want this to be exactly what you want. Like, your needs are so important to me. Like, your happiness is so important to me. And then he gets home from work that day. He's exhausted. He hasn't made enough money. He's in a deficit. And he's like, yeah, but at least the customer's happy. And that, translates into my life, not in a business sense, but in a just like life sense. Like, no wonder I feel burnt out. No wonder I can't really figure out like, when am I getting over this burnout? It's not because I'm working too much. It's not because my school is too much. It's because I'm approaching the world feeling like I owe people like so much of myself, and I'm not accepting it in return. It's really hard to give back to a people pleaser. It's really hard to help a people pleaser, give praise to a people pleaser. Like, we bat it away. We shoo it away, shoo it out the door. Like, no. I don't have any needs. And I know I've talked about this in different episodes, but it's like, it's so important that we learn to accept, love, care, help, praise, all of these things that like ultimately lead to happiness, lead to fulfillment, lead to us being like, okay, I've done enough for today. Like my work here is done. I can now just rest and relax and bask in the beauty of these connections, of this life, of this sense of ease, of this relaxation. I don't really feel relaxed very often. And I think, I think this is common in a lot of not just people pleasers, but people who work in like the human service field, like the social service field or the helping field, even customer service, like where we are, responsible for the needs of others being met, that we're kind of always on. There's this like hyper vigilance. There's this like, there's always something looming behind curtain number 3. It's like, it's hard to just fully relax and surrender. And Brian always laughs at like these silly shows that I will watch on Netflix or whatever, like that are just mind numbing, because that to me is like the only way I'm like just finding like total ease, total relaxation is just by like watching something that holds my attention, that kind of just like sucks me into this like fictional world, and I don't have to worry about anybody. Like I'm not worried about the characters. I mean, sometimes I am, but you know what I mean? Like there's no needs. There's nothing that I need to do. And I only do this to myself. But the long-term effect of being this way is that eventually you do it enough, you people please enough, you caretake enough, you put yourself last enough, people will hold you in that spot because you've created that expectation. I don't know how to get back to happiness, like to just allow happiness to exist. I think it was like the next day or something, my husband looked to me and he said, I think you are happy. And I am happy. I know I'm happy. I know I am blessed. I have a beautiful life. I have so much privilege and access to so much every day. There is no need of mine that is unmet, essentially. A lot of this is just the time I spend squashing myself and minimizing my needs. And it's not even that like I necessarily need more from myself, but like I can only imagine what I would do with some of that energy I could preserve that I'm using currently to just like worry about other people or build hypotheses up in my head, or, build narratives that, are about people not liking me or people being mad at me or me not doing enough or worrying. Like even, this is an example that I've become a little bit aware of, is that I will do kind gestures, like for my husband, for example, because I do genuinely want to help him out. Like that is true. So for example, today he was kind of short on time, and this has happened a few times. I will make his lunch. I'm at home, he's going to work. He's got more time sensitivity in his schedule. And it's something that I really like to do. I like to make sure he can leave the house being like, okay, I will be nourished. There's a slight ulterior motive, though, that is most often unconscious. And that is, I know that if my husband comes home hungry or comes home feeling like he spent too much money eating out, or well, these are, hypotheticals. that then I will feel a responsibility for managing that. So if he's hungry, oh, well, now I have to rush and make dinner. Or I have to potentially deal with him being a little bit cranky and hangry. Or that he's going to eat a snack right as soon as he gets home and then he won't be hungry for the dinner I made. And so me making his lunch is actually an act of self-protection and preservation. And it's like I'm doing this in a sense that like it feels like, oh, I have to protect myself from danger. I have to protect myself from like these unwanted, undesirable hypotheticals. Now my husband is not a monster. He's not making me do any of this. He's also not coming home and like ruining my day or being a scary, hangry monster. This is all hypervigilance. It's me mapping out all the potential dangers before they even happen and making sure that I am like protected from them. And that is what people pleasing often is. It's not actually about the act. It's not about, oh, I just want to be nice. I just want you to have a good day and have a full belly. It's usually about but what does it mean for me? What is the potential consequence that I will have to face? What are the threats? What is the danger? What can I do to protect myself? And this goes back to my episode on fawning, where it's like you're sort of saddling up next to the enemy, next to the potential threat. And you're like, okay, how can I befriend this? How can I massage this? How can I manipulate this so that I am safe? And I'm using the lunch as an example, and it's a very harmless, very tame example. But it just goes to show me in this example that, again, I'm not just doing it out of like, I just want to take care of my man and hope he has a great day. And I'm just like skipping about. It's like, no, there's more to it than that. And I always feel like I'm presenting in these episodes like, here's the thing I'm doing wrong. And I just kind of like put it out into the world. And like my awareness is raised. But the way I know that I'm not an expert on this, at least not yet, I mean, I'm an expert on my own experiences, but I'm not fully equipped with okay, well then now what? What are you going to do about it? Like, what needs to change? Like, is the answer for me to just stop making my husband lunch? No, like, not necessarily. But I do think there is opportunity for me to loosen the grip a little bit. Like, instead of thinking, oh no, I have to make him a lunch, there may be days where I just don't. I just can't, or I don't, or he has time. He's a grown-ass man. He can't, like, he is not asking for this. And so taking that pause of being like, okay, do I have the capacity for this today? Do I want to do this? Are there other things I should be doing? What's driving me right now? What's on my mind? What are my motivations? Have a conversation about, okay, like this is, the plan for dinner tonight, and just like opening up that like communication. I think when we are thinking about happiness, there can feel like a sense of pressure that it's supposed to look a certain way, or, that to be happy means we have to be happy like every day of every moment. For me, I think there are steps to take, and that is more about like finding moments of peace and relaxation, and just trying to be like mindful about like, okay, like I don't need to worry about anything other than just like being fully present in this experience. This is going to be really important on our trip. Traveling comes with a certain amount of pressure, there's certain time constraints and limits and, tight spaces and close proximity to people. And sometimes you have to surrender to like the group consensus or, this trip is kind of being led by my husband because it's his family and his friends and his home and to just like be present and go with the flow and see what I can learn and just like see what I want to take away from this experience. And for me, I know like a lot of this family time isn't something that we want to take for granted. It isn't something that we want to rush through. And so I think that even just like the act of visiting with older family members like does have the ability to just like ground you in the present moment and just kind of let go of schedule and structure. And it also can really facilitate like wanting to be of service and wanting to be helpful. But I have to just keep reminding myself that my needs are met. Like I have a full and beautiful life. I could also say the same about my husband, or the people in my life, the people that are surrounding me. Like I can trust that they are meeting their own needs. They have their needs taken care of. And if there is an area where someone is asking for help, like maybe that needs to be my cue, let them ask for help. If that's something that I'm like maybe not fully trusting myself on yet. So lots of reflection to still continue to do and explore. And I'm sorry that I don't come with, all the answers, but that's just the honest truth to where I'm at. And I hope it's relatable. I do hope it's clear that like these episodes are relatively free flow and sometimes I listen to them again and I think, I should have said that, or I should have added that, or there's a lot more to it. And so these episodes should just be taken as a snapshot in time in terms of like where I'm at today. And oftentimes I have reflections after the fact that I'm like, oh, well, I guess this is now where I'm at today. So we evolve, we grow, we learn. And I just keep trying to do the best that I can every day. Thank you so much for being here. I will talk to you soon. Once again, this is Corie with the People Pleaser Podcast. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. If you like what you heard, please consider leaving a 5-star rating and a review on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thanks for listening, and I will catch you on the next episode.